The gavel strikes sharply. The courtroom is silent, cold, and filled with tension. Spectators whisper softly as Judge Harrison takes his seat, an American flag draped proudly behind him. Bailiff, all rise. The Honorable Judge Harrison presiding. Case number 5472, United States versus Lawson. Everyone stands, then sits. Judge Harrison, let's begin. Counsel, are we ready? Defense, Jasmine Lawson ready, Your Honor. Prosecutor, Mr. Cole ready as well, Your Honor. Judge Harrison, glancing at Jasmine. I hope this time, Ms. Lawson, your arguments are grounded in law, not emotion. Jasmine, calmly, with all due respect, Your Honor, justice requires both. The room murmurs. Judge Harrison, order. Bangs gavel. This is a court of law, not a theatre. Jasmine, then may the truth perform, Your Honor. A few spectators smile quietly. Later in the session, the prosecution begins its case. A large monitor shows a photo of Jasmine's client, Daniel Reed, accused of treason for leaking classified data. Prosecutor, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a crime, it's betrayal. The defendant shared state secrets under the pretext of truth. But truth does not excuse treason. Jasmine rises slowly. May I respond? Judge Harrison, you'll get your turn, Ms. Lawson. Sit down. Jasmine hesitates, then sits. Of course, Your Honor. Though I hope truth still has its turn here. The next witness takes the stand. Prosecutor, state your name. Witness, Agent Richard Vale, Homeland Security. Prosecutor, you claim the defendant had unauthorized access to encrypted data? Witness, correct. He bypassed the system firewall, accessed military archives, and transmitted files to an independent news outlet. Jasmine, standing. Permission to cross, Your Honor? Judge Harrison, proceed. Briefly. Jasmine, Agent Vale, these military archives, were they classified as top secret during the time of access? Witness, yes. Jasmine, and yet, isn't it true the documents exposed government misconduct, specifically, an illegal weapons test resulting in civilian deaths? Prosecutor, objection. Irrelevant to the charge of treason. Jasmine, it goes to motive, Your Honor. Judge Harrison, sustained. Stay within the boundaries, Ms. Lawson. Jasmine, eyes narrowing. Boundaries, understood. Later, recess time. Jasmine sits alone at her table, staring at the flag behind the judge's bench. The flag's folds seem heavier, its meaning quieter. Defense aide, you okay, Jas? Jasmine, he's not listening. None of them are. Defense aide, the jury's watching. That's what matters. Jasmine, whispering, the flag stands for liberty. But in this courtroom, it feels like it stands for silence. After recess, the judge returns, holding a folded flag. Judge Harrison, before we proceed, I want to remind everyone of what this symbol means. Unfolds flag. This is the flag of the United States. It represents law, order, and allegiance. Those who disrespect it, disrespect this nation. He places the flag on his bench. Jasmine, rising. Permission to speak, Your Honor? Judge Harrison, only if it's relevant. Jasmine, the flag also represents freedom, the freedom to question authority, to speak truth, and to defend the Constitution. Judge Harrison, leaning forward, Ms. Lawson, you're dangerously close to contempt. Jasmine, then let me be dangerously honest. Gasps from the courtroom. Judge Harrison, sit down. Jasmine, louder, if this flag is only about obedience, then we've already betrayed it. Tension builds. The judge slams his gavel. Judge Harrison, bailiff, control the court. Bailiff, order. Order in the court. But the silence that follows isn't obedience, it's shock. Everyone stares at Jasmine, who now stands tall, the flag's shadow falling across her face. Jasmine, quietly, I have served this country as a public defender for 9 years. I've seen this flag raised over justice, and sometimes over lies. If loyalty means silence when truth is dying, then I choose the harder flag to raise. The entire courtroom freezes. Judge Harrison, through clenched teeth, Ms. Lawson, step back. Jasmine, I will, after one answer, Your Honor. When you hold that flag, do you swear to protect the government or the people? A long, Heavy silence fills the room. The judge doesn't respond. The jury looks uneasy. A reporter in the back scribbles furiously. Prosecutor, objection. This is political grandstanding. Jasmine, no, Mr. Cole, this is the oath you all forgot. The judge's gavel falls again. Judge Harrison, court is adjourned till tomorrow. Ms. Lawson, remain behind. Bailiff, all rise. Everyone stands, murmuring. As the courtroom empties, Jasmine remains motionless, her gaze fixed on the flag. It waves faintly from the air conditioning vent, as if it, too, is uneasy. Empty courtroom. Night. Only Jasmine remains, gathering papers. The judge enters quietly. Judge Harrison, you think passion wins cases? Jasmine, no, Your Honor. But fear loses them. Judge Harrison, you embarrassed this court. Jasmine, then this court needed to be embarrassed. Judge Harrison, coldly, you've made enemies today. Jasmine, so did the first person who raised that flag. He pauses, no words, only silence. The American flag rustles slightly under the ceiling fan. The judge looks at it, then back at her. Judge Harrison, tomorrow, you'd better come prepared to argue law, not liberty. Jasmine, collects her files. Law without liberty isn't justice, Your Honor. It's theater with punishment. She walks out, leaving him alone beneath the flag. The sound of rain hits the courthouse windows. The mood is heavier. Everyone feels the echo of yesterday's confrontation. Reporters fill the back rows. Every seat is taken. The flag behind the bench stands still, silent and powerful. Bailiff, all rise. Everyone stands as Judge Harrison enters. He looks composed but restless, like a man wrestling with something invisible. Judge Harrison, court is now in session. Defense, prosecution. Are we ready to proceed? Jasmine, ready, Your Honor. Prosecutor, ready. Judge Harrison, good. Let's resume where we left off. Ms. Lawson, if you're done with your speeches, perhaps you'll call your witness? Jasmine, smiles faintly. I am calling the only witness that matters, Your Honor, the truth itself. The courtroom murmurs softly. The judge's brow tightens. Judge Harrison, be serious, counselor. Jasmine, I am. Your Honor, I'd like to recall Agent Vale for cross-examination. Judge Harrison, nods. Proceed. Agent Richard Vale returns to the stand. He sits, straight-backed, a federal badge glinting under the lights. Jasmine, Agent Vale, yesterday you testified that the defendant accessed classified data. Correct. Vale, that's correct. Jasmine, and that he sent it to a news outlet? Vale, yes. Jasmine, did you personally verify the documents contained military intelligence? Vale, they had clearance stamps, that's verification enough. Jasmine, but you didn't read them? Vale, I wasn't authorized to. Jasmine, steps closer. Then how do you know my client didn't reveal crimes committed by your department? Prosecutor, objection. Argumentative. Judge Harrison, sustained. Stay on point, Ms. Lawson. Jasmine, I am on point, Your Honor, the point of a government sword aimed at the truth. The judge glares, but says nothing. Jasmine, Agent Vale, are you aware of the Edison report? Vale, I've heard of it. Jasmine, the same report that detailed human testing under the Defense Development Program? Vale, classified information. I can't discuss that. Jasmine, you mean illegal information. Prosecutor, objection. She's testifying, not questioning. Judge Harrison, sustained. One more outburst like this, and I'll hold you in contempt. Jasmine, turns sharply toward him. If contempt means speaking for the voiceless, then I'm already guilty, Your Honor. The crowd murmurs again, louder this time. Reporters scribble like lightning. Jasmine walks toward the flag behind the bench. Jasmine, that flag, it's supposed to represent us all. But if it only covers silence, then it's just cloth with colors. Judge Harrison, Ms. Lawson, step back from the bench. Jasmine, turns slowly. Do you know what my father used to tell me? He said, every time that flag waves, someone somewhere is paying for it. And I never understood that, until now. A faint rustle from the jury. Someone coughs nervously. Judge Harrison, coldly. Are you done turning this trial into your own campaign? Jasmine. No, Your Honor. I'm just reminding you what campaign this country started 200 years ago, the one that began with justice, not obedience. A brief silence. The judge's gavel rests mid-air. Prosecutor. Your Honor, this is contemptuous and irrelevant to the matter of national security. Jasmine. National security doesn't mean national silence. Prosecutor. The defendant endangered American lives. Jasmine. And the government ended innocent ones. So which is the greater treason, exposing it or hiding it? The courtroom gasps. The flag behind her trembles from the air vent again, almost symbolically alive. Judge Harrison, furious. That's enough. Ms. Lawson, approach the bench. She walks forward, her heels echoing on the marble floor. Judge Harrison, you will not turn this into a spectacle. I will have you removed if you continue undermining the dignity of this court. Jasmine, respectfully, Your Honor, dignity dies when justice kneels. I'm not undermining this court. I'm trying to remind it why it exists. A deep silence follows. Even the prosecutor doesn't move. Judge Harrison lowers his tone. You're treading dangerous ground, counselor. Jasmine, measured. Then maybe danger is where justice finally begins. The jury foreperson leans forward. Foreperson, Your Honor, with all due respect, maybe we should hear what she's trying to say. The courtroom erupts in murmurs. Judge Harrison, order. The jury will remain silent. Jasmine, quietly, but firmly. No, Your Honor, let them listen. Because for once, the truth deserves witnesses who aren't afraid. Her voice grows steady, calm, echoing against the marble. Jasmine, Daniel Reed didn't sell secrets. He revealed truths. The same kind of truths our founders risked their necks for. Truths written not just on parchment, but in conscience. If this flag truly means freedom, then the man who defended it by exposing corruption should not be the one in chains. The judge's face hardens. He grips the gavel tighter. Judge Harrison, you're done, Ms. Lawson. Jasmine, I'm never done defending the Constitution you swore to protect. The gavel slams, hard. Judge Harrison, enough. Court will recess until further notice. Bailiff, all rise. The crowd stands, tension spilling into chaos. Reporters rush for the door. Int. Courthouse hallway. Continuous. Jasmine exits into the rain-slicked hallway. Her assistant hurries up beside her. Aide. Jas, they're calling this the flag trial online. It's everywhere. Headlines, feeds, hashtags. You're trending. Jasmine, bitter laugh. Trending doesn't win justice. It just buys noise. Aide, but the people are with you. Look at this. Thousands of comments, clips of your words. Some call you the constitutional defender. Jasmine, that's ironic. Because the system I'm defending might destroy me for it. A stranger approaches, an elderly woman, dressed modestly, clutching an old folded flag. Woman. Miss Lawson. Jasmine. Turns. Yes? Woman. My husband died in the war. He believed this flag meant something. After today, I think maybe, you still do too. She presses the folded flag into Jasmine's hands and walks away. Jasmine looks down at it, weathered, worn, and real. A symbol passed from belief to burden. Int. Courtroom, later that night. The courtroom is empty again. Judge Harrison sits alone at the bench, no robe this time. He stares at the flag, now folded and resting before him. He replays Jasmine's words in his head. Jasmine, VO. If this flag is only about obedience, then we've already betrayed it. He sighs deeply, then opens his drawer. Inside, an old military photograph of him saluting the flag. A younger man, idealistic, proud. He whispers to himself, Judge Harrison, when did we start defending power more than principle? He looks up at the empty seats, the silence answers him. Cut to Jasmine's office, same night. Rain beats against the window. She's still working, tired, drained, but alive. Her aide enters with coffee. Aide, tomorrow's the final argument. Are you ready? Jasmine, ready. No. Determined? Always. Aide, they might sanction you. The judge could strike your testimony. Jasmine nods. Let him. Truth doesn't need permission to exist. She looks out the window, the reflection of the flag faintly visible in the glass. Jasmine, tomorrow, I'll raise that flag in a different way. Not with hands, but with words that don't fold. The storm from last night has cleared. Sunlight slices through the tall courtroom windows, glinting off the brass flagpole behind the bench. The flag stands upright, proud, but oddly different now, almost aware of the weight of what's about to unfold. Bailiff, all rise. Everyone stands. Judge Harrison enters, robe flowing, face unreadable. Judge Harrison, be seated. We are here to conclude the matter of United States versus Daniel Reed. Defense, prosecution. I hope your closing arguments will bring clarity rather than chaos. Jasmine, that depends on how much truth the court is ready to handle, Your Honor. Judge Harrison, stern glance. One more theatrical comment, Counselor, and I'll hold you in contempt again. Jasmine, then let me earn it properly this time. A few chuckles ripple through the courtroom before silence falls again. Close on. Jasmine rises slowly, holding a single sheet of paper, not notes, but something older, worn, a copy of the Constitution. Jasmine, Your Honor, members of the jury. Today, we are not just deciding whether Daniel Reed broke the law. We are deciding what happens when conscience collides with control. Every era has its rebels. But sometimes rebellion isn't destruction, it's preservation. Preserving the ideals we say we honor, but conveniently forget when they become inconvenient. She places the Constitution on the table. Jasmine, Daniel Reed didn't steal secrets. He revealed lies, the kind built on silence, on bureaucracy, on fear. You call it classified. He called it truth. Prosecutor interrupts. Objection. That's rhetoric, not law. Judge Harrison, overruled. Let her finish. The prosecutor looks stunned. A few jurors glance at the judge, noticing a flicker of change in his tone. Jasmine, you see, truth isn't polite. It doesn't wait for permission slips or redacted lines. It just exists, raw, uncomfortable, undeniable. And when someone dares to show it, this system calls them criminals. But ask yourself, what happens to a country when the brave are punished and the complicit are promoted? The jury leans forward. The courtroom is still. Jasmine continues. Your Honor, I know what this courtroom represents, but maybe that's exactly why it scares me. Because the moment the law stops protecting the innocent, it becomes a weapon. And right now, it's being used like one. She walks toward the flag again. This time, Judge Harrison doesn't stop her. Jasmine, my client stands accused of betraying his country. But tell me, Your Honor, what's more un-American, revealing the truth, or burying it beneath the flag that claims to protect it? Her voice echoes. No one moves. Jasmine, you raised that flag, Judge. Now it's time to raise your eyes and see what it truly stands for. She returns to her table, sitting down quietly. Judge Harrison pauses, voice lower. Prosecution, your closing argument? The prosecutor stands, flustered, flipping through notes. Prosecutor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, patriotism is not an excuse for treason. Agent Reed broke trust. He disobeyed orders. If every citizen decided which truths to reveal, chaos would reign. He glances nervously toward the judge. Prosecutor, the defense will make you feel. But the law doesn't care about feelings. It cares about security. And security demands silence. He finishes abruptly, sitting down. Even he doesn't sound convinced. The courtroom is silent. The only sound is the faint flutter of the flag. Judge Harrison, members of the jury, you will now retire to deliberate. This court will reconvene upon your verdict. Bailiff, all rise. Everyone stands again. Jasmine looks at Daniel Reed, handcuffed, but calm. Their eyes meet briefly. Daniel, you think they'll understand? Jasmine, no, but they'll remember. He nods once, faintly smiling. Int. Courthouse hallway, hours later. The hallway is filled with whispers, reporters, and tension. Jasmine paces slowly, her shoes echoing on the marble. Her aide, phone in hand, scrolls furiously. Aide, They're all talking about it. Every outlet. Every network. You're trending again. Hashtag the flag trial. Jasmine. They're watching for drama, not justice. Aid. Maybe. But sometimes drama wakes up the sleeping ones. She smiles faintly, then sits on a bench, waiting. Int. Jury room. Same time. 12 jurors sit in heavy silence. A small American flag hangs behind them. Juror number 3. She's right. He didn't leak secrets for money or fame. He did it because someone had to. Juror number 6. Doesn't matter. It's illegal. Juror number 3. Then maybe the law's wrong. Juror number 6. The law's never wrong. It's the law. Juror number 9. No, the law's written by people. And people can be wrong. She reminded us of that. A beat of silence. One by one, heads begin to nod. Int. Courtroom. Later that afternoon. Bailiff. All rise. Jury has reached a verdict. Everyone stands. Judge Harrison returns to his seat. Judge Harrison. Foreperson. Has the jury reached a verdict? Foreperson. We have, Your Honor. Judge Harrison. Please read it aloud. Foreperson. On the charge of treason, we find the defendant not guilty. The courtroom explodes in gasps and murmurs. A few people cheer quietly. Prosecutor. Furious. What? This is an outrage. Judge Harrison. Firm. Order. I will have order in my court. He slams the gavel, once, twice, then pauses, staring at Jasmine. Judge Harrison. Members of the jury, you will now retire to deliberate. This court will reconvene upon your verdict. Bailiff. All rise. Everyone stands again. Jasmine looks at Daniel Reed, handcuffed, but calm. Their eyes meet briefly. Daniel. You think they'll understand? Jasmine. No. But they'll remember. He nods once, faintly smiling. Int. Courthouse hallway, hours later. The hallway is filled with whispers, reporters, and tension. Jasmine paces slowly, her shoes echoing on the marble. Her aide, phone in hand, scrolls furiously. Aide. They're all talking about it. Every outlet. Every network. You're trending again. Hashtag the flag trial. Jasmine. They're watching for drama, not justice. Aide. Maybe. But sometimes drama wakes up the sleeping ones. She smiles faintly, then sits on a bench, waiting. Int. Jury room. Same time. 12 jurors sit in heavy silence. A small American flag hangs behind them. Juror number 3. She's right. He didn't leak secrets for money or fame. He did it because someone had to. Juror number 6. Doesn't matter. It's illegal. Juror number 3. Then maybe the law's wrong. Juror number 6. The law's never wrong. It's the law. Juror number 9. No, the law's written by people. And people can be wrong. She reminded us of that. A beat of silence. One by one, heads begin to nod. Int. Courtroom. Later that afternoon. Bailiff. All rise. Jury has reached a verdict. Everyone stands. Judge Harrison returns to his seat. Judge Harrison. Foreperson. Has the jury reached a verdict? Foreperson. We have, Your Honor. Judge Harrison. Please read it aloud. Foreperson. On the charge of treason, we find the defendant not guilty. The courtroom explodes in gasps and murmurs. A few people cheer quietly. Prosecutor. Furious. What? This is an outrage. Judge Harrison. Firm. Order. I will have order in my court. He slams the gavel, once, twice, then pauses, staring at Jasmine. Jasmine. Quietly, to herself. Sometimes justice doesn't roar, it whispers. Daniel Reed exhales, tears glinting in his eyes. Daniel. You did it. Jasmine. No. We did it, by daring to look up. Judge Harrison leans forward slightly, his voice carrying across the silence. Judge Harrison. This court recognizes the bravery of both counsel and defendant. Sometimes, the law must be challenged to be restored. Ms. Lawson, your defiance was improper, but perhaps necessary. He looks at the flag. Judge Harrison. Maybe it's time I remember what I was saluting all these years. The flag behind him stirs again, as if approving. Jasmine. Then maybe, Your Honor, the flag just found its meaning again. He nods silently. The gavel falls one last time. Judge Harrison. Case dismissed. Int. Courthouse steps, moments later. Cameras flash. Reporters swarm. Jasmine and Daniel walk out side by side. The sky is clear, blue, open, and free. Reporter. Ms. Lawson. What does this verdict mean to you? Jasmine. Turns, smiling faintly. It means the truth finally stood taller than the walls that tried to contain it. Reporter. And the flag behind the judge, it's become a symbol online. What does it mean to you now? Jasmine. It used to stand for obedience. Now it stands for accountability. Daniel raises his head, eyes closed, free at last. Jasmine. VO. Justice doesn't always march in parades. Sometimes, it walks quietly out the courtroom door. The courtroom buzzed like a beehive. Cameras clicked. The audience leaned forward. The flag still stood tall, half-shadowed by the ceiling light, as if watching the trial unfold with judgment of its own. Prosecutor Hale. Your Honor, permission to cross-examine. Judge Ruth. Granted. But remember, Hale, you're walking on thin ice. Hale adjusted his tie, stepping closer to the witness stand. The defense attorney, Elena Moore, sat beside her client, a young Marine named Eli Turner, whose trembling hands rested on a folded letter marked classified. Hale. Mr. Turner, you claim you raised the flag because you believed it symbolized justice. But isn't it true that you did so after disobeying a direct order? Eli. Calmly, sir, justice and orders don't always walk together. Hale. So you're above command now? Eli. No. I just refuse to salute corruption. A murmur swept through the gallery. Cameras zoomed in. Judge Ruth's gavel hit once, echoing like thunder. Judge Ruth. Order. Let him finish. Hale. Corruption, you say? That's a serious accusation. Eli. Then maybe it deserves a serious answer. He reached into his pocket. The guards moved instantly, but Eli only pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. He handed it to Elena. Elena, reading Operation Sentinel, Internal Report on Falsified Casualties, signed by General Crow. Gasps. Hale froze. His jaw clenched. Hale, that document is sealed under national security. Elena, not anymore. Judge Ruth. Mr. Hale, is this report legitimate? Silence. The courtroom went still. No cough, no whisper, just the faint hum of the air vent. Judge Ruth, firmer, answer the question. Hale. Yes, Your Honor. It's legitimate. Cameras flashed again. The story was breaking live. Reporters outside the courthouse began typing headlines before the verdict had even landed. Elena stood, voice shaking but powerful. Elena. So when my client raised the flag, he wasn't rebelling. He was honoring the truth that this courtroom is supposed to defend. Judge Ruth looked down at the flag once more. Its edges fluttered slightly in the AC breeze, but to her, it looked alive. She turned to Hale. Judge Ruth. Mr. Hale, it appears the truth has already taken the stand. The gallery erupted. Some clapped. Some cried. Some bowed their heads as if in church. Eli sat silently, eyes glistening, not out of fear, but relief. The letter in his hands finally trembled no more. The courtroom lights flickered as if the building itself could sense what was about to happen. Outside, rain began tapping softly against the tall windows, blending with the distant sound of police sirens and protesters chanting, "Truth will rise. Let justice speak." Judge Ruth Bader adjusted her glasses, her eyes locked on Eli Turner, the young soldier who had just dismantled the prosecution's case not with power, but with truth. She spoke softly, yet her words carried like thunder. Judge Ruth, I've presided over hundreds of trials. I've seen guilt paraded as innocence, and innocence buried under politics. But today, this courtroom reminded me why the flag behind me exists. The room went silent again. Even the reporters lowered their cameras. She rose from her chair. The robe fell around her like armor. Judge Ruth, this isn't about rank, Mr. Hale. This isn't about orders or rebellion. This is about what happens when conscience collides with command. Hale tried to interject. Hale, Your Honor, if we let personal belief override authority. But she cut him off sharply. Judge Ruth, authority without accountability is tyranny, Mr. Hale. Her voice cracked through the room like lightning. Eli lowered his head. Elena gripped the edge of the defense table, her heart pounding. Judge Ruth, Mr. Turner, you stood when others stayed silent. You raised a flag, not in defiance of your nation, but in defense of its principles. This court cannot condemn you for honoring the truth. Hale's face went pale. He whispered under his breath, Hale, you're making a mistake. Ruth turned to him coldly. Judge Ruth, no. The mistake was made the day lies became protocol. She lifted her gavel, but instead of striking it immediately, she paused, glancing up at the flag again. The faint reflection of red and blue shimmered across her glasses. Judge Ruth, for the record, this court finds Sergeant Eli Turner. Silence. Everyone leaned forward. The reporters, the guards, even the janitor frozen mid-step. Judge Ruth, not guilty on all charges. Gasps filled the room. Then, applause. It began as a single clap, hesitant, then another, and another, until the chamber roared. Eli closed his eyes, tears cutting through the dust on his cheeks. Elena reached over, gripping his arm. Elena, whispering, you did it, Eli. You changed everything. Judge Ruth struck her gavel once more. Judge Ruth, court is adjourned. But no one moved. No one wanted to move. It was as if the entire courtroom had just witnessed something sacred, something that went beyond law or judgment. As Ruth turned to leave, she stopped by the flagpole. Slowly, she reached up, straightened the edges of the flag, and whispered, Judge Ruth, quietly, you stand for everyone who dares to speak truth, even when it costs them everything. The camera zoomed in as she walked out, robe swaying, her footsteps echoing like the beat of justice itself. Outside, the sky began to clear. The storm had passed. But on social media, the storm had only just begun. #BreakingJustice, #FlagTrial, #Courtroom Moment.